Hi, everyone. Welcome to CCUF. We are here with Chris from StudyinCanada, who's going to talk to us all about that. So go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Tess. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think we've got people from really literally all around the world. So thanks for dropping into this presentation. And thanks for coming to CCUF. We hope it helps you in your journey to come to Canada and find the right program in school. We're going to talk today over the next 30 minutes or so about StudyinCanada. This is our meaning the School Finder group who organized this event and also manage StudyinCanada, Scholarships Canada, and School Finder. We're hoping that this will give you some insight into how to get the most out of the website. So a bit on me. I started this business over 20 years ago. I had just finished doing my MBA in the UK at the London Business School and was looking for something to do next. I wanted to start a business, so I came back to Canada and looked at a few different things and ended up starting this business, and it's evolved ever since. And really, the reason I thought it was maybe a helpful, useful service was in looking for business schools. It was a little more complicated. This is almost pre-internet. There were books back then, if everyone's familiar with those. There were CDs, but it was hard to find information, to be honest. So I thought it should be a lot easier. So that was kind of the kernel, or how the idea for the business started. And hopefully over the last 20, 25 years, we've made it easier for some students, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe millions. We certainly have over 1 million students registered on the website, so hopefully we're doing something to help their process easier. Great. So there are a couple of questions that I like to start with on this presentation, whether you're an international student or a Canadian student. There's always a question about post-secondary education, and really less than half the people in any country almost go on to post-secondary. So many students, or half or more, don't get a college or university diploma or bachelor degree and don't go on to post-secondary. So the question is it worth it? Like, why should you? And so I've got some Canadian research here that maybe gives us some insight into that. Over your career, that's an interesting question too, because we're not all going to retire when we're 65. But over your career, you may expect to earn $1 million more than you would have without a bachelor degree. So if you hadn't gone to post-secondary, hadn't got the bachelor degree, you would be at 65, $1 million poorer. So you'd have $1 million less. So is it worth it? I think it is. These are averages, of course. Some people make a lot more. Some people make less. But on average, it's certainly worth it. The value of a post-secondary education, too, is it's more than just the money. There's research, and these slides will be available to anyone who wants them with sources and links. But the research shows that if you go on and do a post-secondary degree or diploma, you're going to be more environmentally conscious. You're probably going to be healthier. You're going to be more engaged in your surroundings, and probably a happier person. So not only do you make more money, but you're probably going to benefit in other ways. When I went to university, the options were pretty small in Canada. I mean, there were probably 60 universities. And to be honest, a lot of kids, when I was 17 and graduating from high school, you kind of went on and did a bachelor degree. You didn't really think about diplomas and we'll talk about what these are in a minute, but you kind of were on a stream. And if you were going to go on to post-secondary, it's going to be a bachelor degree. And there weren't that many schools, probably half of what there is now, and certainly not as many programs. So now there are a lot of options. And because there are a lot of options, about 1 in 5 students drop out. So they start a program at a school and they either drop out and go into another program or drop out altogether. Or maybe they drop out and leave the education community and, as a whole, or they may go on to another college or university. either way, that's 20% of students who are kind of spending some money to get into a program and realizing it's not the right program, not the right school, and so that's money spent that maybe they can't recover, or you can't recover. So we think it's important to try and get the best sort of information that you can, and before you make that decision. So we talk a lot about shortlists, and we talk a lot about research, and we talk about setting up a profile, which we'll see in a minute. Because on StudyinCanada and in our database, there are probably over 50,000, 53,000 different programs. Now that includes bachelor and diploma, so undergraduate. It also includes master's and doctorate, so graduate. But it's a lot of options. There are over 5,000 schools listed on the site, and we primarily list Canadian schools, but also some US, UK, and other schools who are interested in recruiting Canadian students. So we don't, by any means, have all the schools in the world, but that's a lot to start with anyway. And over 300 career profiles. A lot of what we're doing right now, all of us looking for schools and programs, is ultimately to get the job or the career that we want. And so there are lots of different career profiles, so lots of options, and that's growing. So I want to go into the system in a minute and show you how we can help you filter and get matched to the programs that are of interest to you. But I want to talk a bit about the Canadian education system first and some of the costs. So in Canada, we have primary schools, as do most countries, secondary schools. And so those are the first two. You kind of start in kindergarten and graduate from secondary in this country at grade 12. And then you go on to university or college / career college or institute. Now, the difference between a college and a university in Canada is really colleges are known as or deliver 2-year diploma programs, whereas universities deliver 3 or 4-year bachelor programs. And so there's a difference in cost, number of years you're going to be attending the school, and also the outcome. Now, many colleges are now delivering bachelor programs, and many colleges, I sat in on Snow College in the US, their presentation. They are a college in the US. They do 2-year diploma programs, but you can apply those 2 years towards your bachelor degree. So it's something to consider. It doesn't mean if you're in a college diploma program that you'll never do a bachelor. And in fact, often a 2-year diploma will feed into a 4-year bachelor program. But I think that's an important difference between university and college in general. If you're not sure, reach out to the school. We recommend, there are lots of recruiters. We've had lots of great presentations today, but lots of recruiters and admissions officers that are more than happy to help. All you need to do is ask. What's going to be the cost of education? Remember, you're going to be $1 million richer. So although, an undergraduate business program might cost $28,000, probably a little more now. These numbers are a couple of years old, and they're accumulated from Stats Canada, which is the Canadian national statistic organization that kind of keeps a lot of this information. So it's going to cost 20, 30, probably more, especially when you consider things beyond tuition. So this is really just tuition. But remember, you're going to be $1 million richer. And if you're coming to Canada and after you finish your degree or diploma, you may work. You may work while you're here too. The number of hours that you can work per week while you're studying has increased. And I think, as Danny said in his presentation earlier today, if you're going to spend a lot of hours or, depend or budget for, 40 hours of work a week, that may take away from your studies and your grades. You don't want to risk dropping out of school, because that means you have to drop out of the country. So it's helpful that you can work longer. It will help defray the cost, but you have to take it. You have to plan for it and be able to manage it. There's a lot of talk, and many of you may be working with agents or considering working with agents. There has recently been an expose on agents and how sometimes they can lead you astray when you're coming to Canada or any country. I've got a couple of links here to the Canadian government, the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, which is a Canadian government site, and also the list of agents, approved agents here. But this quote from the Canadian government is probably helpful and worth just considering if you're working or looking at working with an agent or an agency. We recommend you research the background, experience, and expertise of the agent. So ask them, who they've worked with. Ask them which schools they represent. Agents will often not represent, or almost never represent, every school in the country. They'll represent certain schools, and so they'll have a predilection, or they'll be biased towards those schools. They're probably going to steer you towards the school they're working with, or schools. There may be other schools out there that you're better suited for. So figure out who they represent. And then just double check to make sure the Canadian institutions, and they'll list the agents they're working with on their site. Double check to make sure that they're on that list. And feel free to ask for references. So if you're going to work with an agent, you could ask, what have you done over the last little while? And can I speak to some of the students and parents that you've worked with? So those are some guidelines that maybe help in terms of choosing agents, and then some more information on the links below. And as I said, we'll share the deck at the end of the presentation. So really our mission is to help you sort through the options and match to the right programs, schools, and then careers and scholarships. It really starts with programs, you're interested in. And I heard today someone say cyber science. We're going to take a look at cybersecurity and security in general. So it starts there. I'm interested in that program. What schools offer it? And I'll show you how you can create a short list or save them and find them. And then from there to careers and scholarships. Let's take a tour. So I'm going to click the link, and you should see the StudyinCanada website. So now I've logged in. Why don't I log out? So if you have not created an account, we'd obviously recommend that you do. I think it'll make it much easier. We don't share your information with anyone or sell it. It's protected. If you subscribe to things, then we will email you regarding those subscription items. But otherwise, your information is protected, doesn't go anywhere. And creating an account will really help in terms of finding, which of the 50,000 programs you're interested in. So the site, before you log in, all the information is available. So there's information here on featured programs. The site is free for you to use as a student, parent, agent, educator, etc. So we don't charge for any of the services, and we don't charge for schools to put their information on the site, or scholarships, or any of the content you see here, unless they're paying. I guess in this case we do. Featured programs, featured schools is an upcharge. For some schools will pay to have that visibility, as well as pay to what we call generate a lead. So if you're interested in the school and you email them, in a sense, they're paying for that service, and that helps us pay for the site. We'll log in a sec, but featured schools. So here's some schools. If I'm interested in the University of Alberta, I click on the link, and I will go to the programs. I'll go back here to quick info, and I can see some information, some further links, social, and some of the other links directly into the University of Alberta's website. Some quick facts, so number of students, some overview on the scholarships, contact information, and other schools you may want to consider based on what other students have done on the website. So they've looked at McGill in addition to the University of Alberta, Concordia, Waterloo, UBC. So that may help you in your exploration. Maybe you're interested in looking at some of those schools. And so not all of them, as I said, are paying to be on the site. McGill's a good example. So here's McGill's information, also kept up to date. So it's all here, but they're not generating any leads or paying to be on the site. We just maintain the profile with our team. Okay, I'm going to log in and we'll take a look at what happens once you create an account. As I said, I heard someone this morning say that they were interested in cybersecurity. So I have changed my profile. Now, when you set up a profile on the site, there will be a number of different questions. Obviously, we recommend you complete the questions to the best of your ability, especially if you're looking for scholarships. So I've created a profile, or now I can edit it. And what I did was add computer information systems and security, cyber and computer forensics, and cyber electronic operations and warfare. Sounds like a scary title, eh? Warfare. So I've created a profile, and I've indicated that I'm interested in studying at any school in Canada. And so I'm going to save across Canada, any province. And so now I've been matched with 3 schools who offer cybersecurity, any of these programs. So if I want to explore, I can go into Ontario Tech and get more information like we just saw on U of A, their program, their school, and their programs. And if I want to look up cyber or security, I can search and find some of the cybersecurity options. If I'm interested in that one, I look at the program. I've got a link out to their website. I've got some information on costs. I've got some information on grades to get in. If I like this, I can request info, so I connect directly with them. I can save it, so it goes to my on my dashboard, my saved schools, and I can see other programs here that might be of interest. So I can explore other options. Let me flip back to the dashboard. If I want to see all the matching programs, I click here. So now I'm seeing all the schools that have that program, not just the ones who have the what we call lead match turned on. And I can see all the schools here that have this particular program. And it looks like there are 10 matching programs. It's an emerging field. It also, I put my marks in, so it gives me a sense of, okay, I'm good here because my marks, I think, are 80 or 75. This is on the margin. I might not get into this program. This is U of T, Mississauga, but all the others, I'm good to go. So, great. So that's kind of how we make it a lot easier than doing a keyword search and make it easier to save. So you've got it on your sort of in your short list, make it easier for you to manage the schools that you might be interested in. Let's talk a bit about this content in the middle. So we provide articles and useful content on the site. It's updated really every day. So there may be some articles that help figure out what to do. I don't know if there's a cybersecurity. We could take a look at that. Go over here and just do security. So there are a number of sort of security related articles, not all of them relate to cybersecurity, but 10 trend-setting employers for Algonquin College students. Next steps arriving in Toronto. So this content is meant to be helpful for you. It's connected to the schools as well. If you're interested in York University, it will be on the left here, all their content, so you can, get better acquainted with the school and with coming to Canada and, things that you need to know. I'll flip back to my dashboard. The other thing of interest here is upcoming events. So there are events on the site that are both in person and virtual, and we would recommend attending events. Obviously, if you're in Nigeria or somewhere else, not in Canada, it'll be difficult to attend an event in Canada, but there will be virtual options after the pandemic, or as we're emerging out of the pandemic. There are a lot of program sessions and sort of smaller targeted events that are virtual, and you'll see here location online means it's a virtual event. So if I'm interested in that, I can click on that and get more information. If there's registration required, it will be on the site. That's our event. Nice. Let's try this. Toronto Metropolitan University. So this is an open house. It's online. So if I want to register, I click register and I'm off to the site to register for this event. And again, great opportunity to get more information on the school, ask questions as you've done here, but at a specific school. We will also list events that are in different countries. So there will be colleges and universities who are traveling. So if there is an event in Nigeria or whatever country you're in, we'll list those events and make it easier for you to find or attend events locally. Great. What else do we want to look at? Some career information. So let me go back to my saved program here. And let's go into accounting. So if I'm interested in accounting, we will have links on the career or the program profile to different careers. So if you're interested in being an accountant or a payroll and benefits administrator, we maintain these career profiles. We link to schools, colleges, and universities that offer programs to get into that career. And maybe most importantly, we have employers and earnings. This will give you a sense of what you might make. So the average for this particular career is 55,000 Canadian. These numbers will all be in Canadian dollars. The high is 79. And then the outlook. There are a lot of trends in careers that we try to track. So this career has 15,000, it looks like, seekers and 17,000 openings. So it would be considered balanced, or I would say even an attractive career. So there are fewer people looking for a job in this career than there are openings. So if you go into payroll and benefit administration, at least over the next little while, things look good. Okay, great. I think I'll stop here for a minute test just to see if there are any questions. I can do that. I've got my phone. Let's see. Okay. I'll start at the top. And this one was made, it looks to me like 7 hours ago. So someone who came to the session and asked a question earlier today. Hello, I've made a couple, and they may not be here, but I'll run through the question. I've made a couple of applications to some schools before now, but proving abortive. How can I do it? How can I be more productive? It's hard to know what happened in terms of abortive, but if it means that you didn't get accepted, I would again, with marks and other requirements, check with the school before you apply. I'll click on the matching programs link. And so this may be important. And this, the site is updated. We try to update it at least once a year for all the programs and content, but it's not necessarily definitive. And even if you're on a school website, it's not, I would check. So especially if you're on the margin here, check to see what the marks requirements are, check to see what the prereqs are for each program. And the best way to do that is to, once you've got your shortlist on StudyinCanada, is to reach out to the school. And again, you can do that quite easily. If I'm interested in this program and I want more information, we'll provide a URL. So there's a link here to the profile at Trent. If I click it, I will go out to Trent. So this is the information here at the university. And then there will often be, if they're quick facts, there will be a link here, an email link, a phone number link often. So you can reach out to directly to the school if you're not sure. Okay, question number 2. Does this site help me contact schools and no requirements? Excellent question, and I think I just answered it. So yes, we try to provide contact information wherever. Again, if the school has an active profile, they'll have a request info. If not, we do provide these links so that you can get more information. I don't know what I should study. How should I decide? Great question. So if you're really not, I want to go over to careers. So if you're not sure, like even where you should start, or if you have a lot of different interests, we have what we call the career quiz. So this quiz, it's relatively long, but it's worth it, especially if you're not sure what you want to do. So the quiz, by answering these questions, will give you categories or suggestions, and it kind of tests or measures your affinity to be in different careers, different types of sort of interests and skills and whatnot. So when I took the test, I ended up with a fit in research science. So by answering the questions, the quiz is telling me, hey, Chris, you may have affiliation or interest in research sciences. Now, there are college and university and graduate programs that get me into these careers. Let's take a look at the university. So there's 32 careers here that are related to research sciences that I may be interested in. And then there are these universities providing information on getting into each one. So I can start looking at this and say, hey, maybe I do want to be a physicist. So I can review the physicist, what's involved. I can save that as I did with the program earlier. So I am interested in that. I want to save it so I can find it easily next time. And here are the schools that where I can request information from that have programs related to this career description. As we did earlier with payroll folks, we can take a look at earnings, and wow, I could make $159,000 a year. That's not bad. How's the outlook? Let's take a look. And the outlook is also balanced. So it's pretty much the number of job seekers equal to the number of job openings. So this may be a career that I'm interested in. So that hopefully that helps. And then if you want to explore it more, you can reach out to the schools and the programs that they offer. Okay, let's take another look here at Anonymous. I don't know what I should study. How should I decide? Just answered that. How can I fund my education in Canada? We're going to look at scholarships in the 115 session. But there are, if I'm interested in Waterloo, for instance, or any school, there will be information here on financial aid on the profile. And also you can reach out to them. So we try to give you an overview here of what they've got available. Some of them will have scholarships listed. Some may not. But as I heard, I think they've got a lot of sort of automatic consideration entrance scholarships. So we're going to look at Scholarships Canada and how you can find scholarships in about an hour or so. But reach out to the school because they may have their own scholarships that aren't on Scholarships Canada and funding options. Okay. Sorry, you mentioned doing an MBA in the UK. Excuse me for going off topic. I want to keep my options open. Do you have a website for scholarships for undergraduate students in the UK? No. If you're Canadian going to the UK, we would have scholarships. If you're living in the UK or from outside of Canada going to the UK, we might, but it would be through probably through a UK school. I don't know there, and to be honest, I don't know what sites. I know in the US there's FastWeb and a few other sites. I'm not sure where I'd point you for the UK, but maybe we'll look into that and post on the site. How do I know which school is best for me? Can I compare schools and programs on StudyinCanada? Yes. So you can compare any school you want. If I go back to my dashboard, look at my programs. So I've saved 6 programs, and let's compare. So I'm going to compare this one, and this one, just because it's easier, and I'll click compare. So now I've got sort of a side-by-side comparison for these 3 out of the 6 programs I'm interested in, and I can see it's just maybe a little easier to see the length, compare entry grades if it's there, prereqs, where it's at, the size of the school. So it kind of makes it easier to see at a glance which programs or what the difference is between programs. So yes, you can. And you can save that and you can print it. Okay. Can I study in Canada on a regular visa? You need a student visa. I'm not sure about a regular visa. I think not, but if you're not sure, I would check with the Immigration Canada. How can I stay up to date on school info, programs, news, etc.? Great question. So when you create your profile, there will be subscription options. Let me go back here. So under here, I have subscription preferences. This is a great way to stay up to date on school information. If you're subscribed to the scholarship, have a scholarship profile, we'll send you scholarship deadline alerts, promotions and offers, information from our organization, newsletters. So you can subscribe to the School Finder newsletter and our new website tracking, which helps us serve you better. You can unsubscribe or subscribe to that as well. So all sorts of options there, and I would keep it up to date as I would your profile. Okay, does this account help in getting all necessary information about certain schools for international students? Yes. So this will help you get all as we've just shown, it should help you get all the information and certainly act as a starting place, a launching pad if you want to get more information. Okay, I think is that, Tess, are there any other questions that I've missed?
Did you answer the one about which programs are good for an international student to study in Canada and complete within 2 years?
College programs. So, I mean, a diploma. So if you're trying to get into the country and you want to look at college or 2-year diplomas, that's probably the best, and you're only looking at 2 years. I guess you could also do masters. Often, like the MBA programs, master's programs tend to be 1 to 2 years. But yes, college programs. Again, that will be on the site. So if I change my profile and I say that I'm interested in undergraduate studies, and I will indicate my preference is diploma. And I'll do a search and see what we've got. Okay, as the cyber programs may be a little limiting in terms of, so let's do bookkeeping or accounting in general. So I've got Algonquin College here. So this will be a 2-year program. So if we go to Algonquin and look up some programs, we have accounting. Post diploma would be something you do after your diploma or bachelor degree. Well, here's one: aircraft maintenance. This is a 2-year program, 17 grand a year. More information on here, career link. So if you want to find out more about the career, and then what you need to get in. But again, if I like this and save it, you might want to start checking out the information here, the links, and also request information. So in this case, you can fill out a request info and send them a link and say, I'd like more information on the aviation program. Okay, what else?
I believe that's all the questions.
Excellent. Okay. And that's probably just about good time. So there's another session starting in looks like 10 minutes. So I hope this was helpful for everyone, and I hope you all are successful wherever you go. To Canada, hopefully you'll come to Canada. It's a great country to study in, and hopefully you will find the right program and prosper. Thank you very much. Okay, bye.